Now let's get to our first featured film. This is a movie called Breaking, starring, headlined by John Boyega. And this is one of these movies where, Bruce, let me ask you, do we spoil certain things about this movie? Because this is based on a true story, how far is our reach regarding what we want to talk about regarding the plot line and story behind Breaking? What do you think?
I think you have to talk about the basic situation, like what the basic situation is occurring, but I wouldn't talk about how it plays out, or even, I wouldn't get too much into the details of it. But I think you
Okay.
can say what happens. Like, I mean, that thing that happens in what, the first 5-10 minutes of the movie, probably, as far
Right.
as where he's actually doing for the movie.
I was talking with Anderson, and he did a little bit of a mini review on when I saw him today, and he said what I said was a little bit of a spoiler. I would love to hear what you guys think about what's a spoiler or not. But here's a plot line regarding Breaking. When Marine veteran Brian Brown Easley, played by John Boyega, he's denied support from Veteran Affairs. He is financially desperate and he's running out of options. So what is this former military, this former Marine, this Marine? What does Brian do? He actually takes a couple of hostages, employees hostage in a Wells Fargo bank. Actually, specifically two hostages. One of them played by Nicole Beharie, who I recently interviewed for another movie coming up. So that's very, very interesting. We'll talk about that. This movie is based on a true story, and it runs at 103 minutes. It's rated PG-13. Again, John Boyega is the lead, and also who else is in this? The late Michael Kenneth Williams is also in this film as a hostage negotiator. It also stars Connie Britton as a news producer. Some really interesting casting as well. I'm just going to say right now, John Boyega, probably one of the, I say this in the best of ways, just a really standout dynamite performance that I believe is awards tailored for the awards. It's not made to get Oscars or nominations, but it's a role that is suited for an Oscar nomination. I think he's a shoo-in for a nod. He's excellent in this movie. I believe his performance, along with the performances of Nicole Beharie and Michael Kenneth Williams, they're also good as the supporting actors. I think just based on the performances, this movie, Breaking, is even worth a watch in theaters. But what about the story? Does the story take it over the top? Let's start first with you, Eric. I think you're going to agree regarding the performances. How did this movie sit with you?
Well, so first of all, I'm watching the movie. I didn't know anything about this. I didn't know about I didn't even know this was based on a true story. I'm just watching this. I think it maybe said based on a true story at the beginning, but you see that in movies all the time. It doesn't really mean anything. I mean, The Conjuring says based on a true story. Technically it is, but ghosts don't exist. So, spoiler alert.
Wait a second. Can you say that? Can you say Ghost Stone? Bruce, do you take umbrage to that, or do you think that will you support that statement?
If any ghost would like to come out and prove Eric wrong, we'd be more than happy to listen to that ghost. And you can come on and we'll interview you.
Ooh,
And I'm not talking about the band. It has to be an
Bruce and
actual
Eric,
spirit.
I am a ghost. I exist.
Okay, I've seen The Innocents. I know about ghosts. I believe in ghosts.
I didn't see this review going this direction, but I guess it did.
So, anywho, I think maybe they might have had a title at the beginning that said based on true story, but I'm just watching it. It starts off, pretty slow. It's just him talking on a phone. It's like, okay, this guy's down and out, and then he goes in and he asks for a piece of paper. Okay, anytime main character walks into a bank, oh, this is gonna be a bank heist movie. All right, cool. And so he goes in and does all the bank heist stuff. And watching that, John Boyega is just doing his best Denzel impression, and is fucking glorious to watch. And then Michael K. Williams comes in, and it's a very strange kind of bank heist because he's not after the bank's money. He wants to get paid what he's owed by the VA, and that's what this movie is. It's an indictment on the VA. It had a lot of the same feelings I got when I watched The Negotiator, minus the Kevin Spacey stuff now. So this is kind of supplanting
Okay.
the
Right.
Negotiator. So the movie goes along, and it's really good. Like I'm just on the edge of my seat, just getting closer and closer to the screen every minute of this thing. By the time it's over, the first thing I did was go on YouTube and look up this event, because I'm watching it thinking they had to have made that up. This is where the air quote based on comes from. That part didn't happen in real life, and that part didn't happen in real life. I go on YouTube and watch the newscast of this event. I'm like, oh my God, all this actually happened. There's stuff that they have in the movie that no one could have been there for. Like there's probably like dialogue bits that they may have made up, would have had to made up, but it's consistent with the characters, as it's the newscast seems to corroborate later on. Well, one of the newscasts, there's another, I think a CNN one that I saw I showed you, Bruce, that they got like they literally got everything wrong. But yeah, this is a really good heist movie. And it's really more what it's going for. It's a really good character piece and a really good kind of documentation of sorts of this event that went down. And I think it's really fair too, because I don't know how much we want to get into it, but John Boyega's character, as likable as he is, and how much, as much as I'm on his side, he's still putting two people in a position of where they're being fearful, and they shouldn't have to be. This is not their fault. They should not be in that position. I don't think that blame stops at John Boyega's character. I think he goes way further to the VA. The people fight for the country. Hey, look, we got a military that loves to bomb brown people in other countries. And if you're going to do that, that's going to cost money, because certain people are going to, they're going to do their time in the military, and you need to take care of them. That's the deal that, the recruitment officers present forth. So if you're going to put people's lives on the line, when they come back to America, they should have a golden parachute. The banks don't need golden parachutes. Car companies don't need golden parachutes. And as much as I hate war, and as much as I don't respect a lot of what the military stands for and what they do, the thing is, they're there. They're doing the thing. People in the military are doing their jobs, and when they come back, they should be cared for properly. This movie shows that that's not the case. And actually, talking to people in the military, I know that's not the case. And this movie just blows that wide open. Someone that is a veteran should not have to rob a bank to make ends meet. And in fact, they didn't rob the bank. They just went in to get the news crews there so they could have their story heard, because no one gives a shit. No one's talking about it because it's so widespread. And these are all the things that the movie's about. And that's why breaking is so great. It's done real well too, because it's not done in an exploitative way. It's just, hey, here's the thing. Like what I said with John Boyega, like his character has faults. He should not have put those bank tellers in that situation. That was wrong of him to do that. But I also think that the movie holds his character's feet to the fire, because the movie understands that they didn't deserve that either. There's a lot to unpack with this movie, a lot going on. I think this movie handled the event well. Congratulations on them for doing so.
Okay, worth a trip to the theaters, Eric.
Yes.
Okay, worth a trip to the theaters, Bruce.
Well, yeah, I think so. Absolutely. I can't really add too much to what Eric said. I mean, he pretty much covered what the main points of this. I would kind of underline the aspect of John Boyega's character. First of all, the performance, I'd underline that twice, 3 times, because that performance carries this movie, and it's fantastic. And we've been kind of singing the praises of John Boyega for a little while here, so it's nice to see him get a really meaty role where he can really show off what he can do, and one that might get more eyes on it than, say, Small Axe. But the other thing about this, I think that's really good, well, also what Eric said I think is right as well, the idea of that they show both sides of what he's doing. Obviously, you are sympathetic to his plight and to the ridiculousness that he's stuck in this position, but you also understand, and they show you very clearly, he is also making a choice that's affecting other people. It's affecting these people that are in this bank with him. It's affecting his family. It's affecting his daughter. It's not easy. And this movie doesn't make it easy, so it doesn't make any of the answers easy. But ultimately, would this have happened if the inciting incident for him, the whole holding back of his check, hadn't happened? Last thing I'll put on this, and I would just say, yeah, this is a great movie. You should go check it out. This is also a great example, because, we've seen how many heist bank robbery movies, bank hostage movies have we seen? We've seen lots of these things. It's a pretty known kind of a movie. But this does very quickly and clearly something that catches your eye. So you get his character, he walks into the bank, he does the proverbial, give the note over, and the note says, what, I have a bomb. And then he says, trip the alarm. And you're like, wait, what? And the lady that's in front of him, who is terrified, rightly so, also was like, wait, you want me to trip the alarm? And he's like, yes, trip the alarm. I'm not here to rob you. And that right off the bat is such a great narrative hook. It makes you go like, okay, what's happening here? So immediately now you're in not only this high tension situation, but narratively you're in a situation where you're like, I don't know what's going to happen here, because I didn't know the story either. So, and once again, I think we'd all agree, like, probably don't look at the story stuff ahead of time, the real life story stuff, if you can help it, because some of the twists and turns here will probably work a little more effectively. That being said, if you have read about it, I still think it's really good. I still think you'll really get a lot from this. The story itself has enough human drama in it that I think it works no matter what.
Yeah, based on human drama, this is directed by Abi Damaris Corbin. This movie reminded me of a Sidney Lumet type of film. this
Yeah.
kind of high, it's very tension, but not exploitative. Like Eric was saying, it just there's times when they could have been really hammy or ham-handed with or overly sentimental, but the stakes are still high. But it doesn't mean that our emotions are manipulated. I really appreciated how subtle a lot of it was, especially towards the third act, which we won't really give away what happens towards the end. But yeah, for me, this is high marks for me. I'm giving it 4.5 stars. Let's start out. What about you, Bruce? What are you giving it?
I would go 4.5 stars. I've seen it once. It could go up, but it's definitely at least 4.5 stars.
Okay, Eric Holmes.
First time I watched it, I was at 5 stars, and then I had to watch it again, and now I'm at 6.9. I love this movie.
6.9 stars. Fair.
And I think because like this movie does two things great. One, I think it very thoughtful in the way that it presents the situation that happened, the event that happened, but it's also doesn't forget that it's a movie. And it's entertaining too. How could the story not be entertaining? Like if you know the story, none of this stuff makes any sense like as it's playing out. So it's like Bruce said, I have a bomb, call 911 or trip the alarm. It's like, wait, what? Okay. This
right away, like you're sucked in. If it was a fictional movie, you'd be sucked in right there, right?
Yeah.
You'd be like, whoa, what's going on here?
Don't want to get into it, but the local news features prominently in this, and that whole story is just insane too. And by the way, after you're done watching this movie, go find that on YouTube. Everything in this movie that just seems like Hollywood stuff they made up that sounds cool. That shit's like there's video documentation of that actually happening. This is a movie the filmmakers really did their homework, and it was entertaining to watch, and it was also extremely thoughtful. It was good stuff.
Okay, yeah, that is breaking in theaters. Only in theaters, by the way, on Friday, August 26th.